What up, peeps? Welcome to the Kisscapades podcast. I'm your host, John Telewa, aka the Kiss Bandit. And in this show, we explore the key elements that shape our fulfilling existence, from health and well-being to financial success, meaningful relationships, and the pursuit of happiness. We cover it all. Our guests include experts, professionals, and everyday individuals who have remarkable stories to tell. Tune in to learn practical tips, gain valuable insights, and discover strategies for personal growth and transformation. Whether you're seeking to improve your health, build your wealth, enhance relationships, or find lasting happiness, we got you covered. Welcome to today's episode. It feels good to be back, eh?
Feels so good. I'm back home.
Back where you belong.
Yeah.
So now, before we start off the podcast, just do the usual. Introduce yourself. You know, you're a return guest, but we have, a whole different, probably demography
I'm
and
glad,
people that
actually.
So
My name is Eesha Jobanputra. The last time I was on this episode, I was Miss India Kenya 2018. So a while back. Now, as I told John, there's so much more character development I've been through. And I'm here and I'm ready to share.
And are we talking about work-wise or life-wise or relationship or
I
just,
think a little bit of
friends, everything?
More of like a holistic approach to the whole healing process and the journey behind what makes your quintessential, Kenyan girl trying to navigate through life of career, relationships, whatever it may be, health as well. Yeah, that's something that's been on my plate for the past few years. So yeah, I'm ready.
So what do we start with? Where do we start from? I have so many questions, but I don't want to overwhelm you. But
you can never overwhelm me.
Okay, no, I know where we'll start. Let's start with probably I think maybe work related, because like you said, from the last time you were Miss India Kenya, right?
Yes, I was. Well, I still am, and I am basically giving away my crown next weekend. So
Wait, really?
Yeah, so I'm actually handing over my duties as Miss India Kenya to the next. The pageant practice is actually going on as we speak.
Wait, there haven't been other competitions?
No, so actually there's been misses, but the miss, because when I was supposed to go, after my year basically, there was was it the census? The census was going on at that time, so we couldn't have a whatever. Then COVID for 2.5 years. So there hasn't been a pageant ever since. So we've just been trying to time the right moment when there's girls from uni who are here.
Yeah.
So summer holidays was probably the most ideal time to have it.
So would I be right to say, on record, you're the one who's held the title for the longest
100%.
duration?
I've been Miss India Kenya for 5 years now. 100%. I mean, that's what's happening now. I'm giving away my crown. My reign is coming to an end.
Wow.
Although I'll always be a queen deep down.
For sure.
Yeah, career-wise, the last time I was on this episode, I didn't really have much of a career established as such because I was in uni.
Yeah.
Well, I still am. I'm in my final 2 semesters of uni. I'm doing my undergrad in psychology. I think when I came on, I was still deciding whether I'm going to uni in Kenya or whether I'm going to be traveling out or what was happening with my life. But I think I settled on Kenya because I had already created a foundation for myself over here. And I wasn't ready to let that go. So yeah, career-wise, I've had so many developments and I've been able to look after my passions and hobbies through my career by way of music.
I remember last time we were talking about music, but have you released any records yet?
So,
we talked about this last time.
We did. And I know now you're checking up on me. But I did have every intention of doing the whole solo thing.
Yeah.
And then last year I stumbled upon, I didn't stumble upon, the band stumbled upon me. And we kind of came to a mutual agreement to basically have me join the band because they needed a female singer. So
what's the band?
It's called Little Bit Hatke.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
so
we'll just be sure to check that out as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely, if you check my stories and stuff, I'm always posting about the band. I think finding the band has been probably one of the most, not life-changing, but more, it like ignited this passion from inside me that I forgot that I had with music.
Yeah.
I kind of almost gave up on music in Kenya because you always have to be someone or something before getting into the industry.
True.
Like you can never start from scratch.
Yeah.
And because after effort and effort and effort, I kept trying and I just never got anywhere apart from my personal bounds, which was like my Asian community in Kenya and like my few, Kenyan friends. I was not able to like push through that. And I think just finding the band really, really helped me wake up that, maybe like it rekindled that fire in my heart.
But do you think it's like hard, like let's say, because you've mentioned that, do you think it's hard to break out like in the Kenyan market as a brown girl?
100%.
Tricky?
It's easy to break into the brown market, but being a brown girl breaking into the Kenyan market, you have to have like this X factor.
Yeah.
Like you have to work twice as hard. It's like a woman breaking into a male-dominated area.
True.
I'm the minority in this country, I would say. Like I'm a woman and I'm also not the majority color by way of race, right? So breaking into the music market, breaking into the other side of the music market, I'd say, has been really hard for me. I think I managed to like create some sort of like integration when I joined radio. So I was a radio presenter for like 1.5 years. I took like a gap year. Yeah, at Radio Africa. So at East FM. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I was a radio presenter for like 1.5 years. And I think that helped me find my voice a lot. And I met so many different people from like Kiss and Classic. And I met all these different radio presenters who were not only radio presenters, they were like hustling on the side.
They're doing
like,
so many other things.
They were doing not too much, but they were doing more, like a lot,
Yeah.
So I think that kind of like inspired me to kind of push my bounds and limits as well. It was really hard for me to break out of this brown bubble of mine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think meeting new people, it really helped me out.
I'd have been playing my music all day long.
I wish I could.
All day long.
Wish I could.
You can't play your music if you're one of the presenters.
Well, I mean, that would be illegal. But
It is.
It is. You're not actually... So basically with the radio, there's like a set playlist of 300 songs that are constantly on shuffle. And that's for all stations. I don't know if you noticed this, but if you listen to radio at 4 p.m. on Monday and you listen to radio at 4 p.m. on Tuesday, it's going to be the same song.
The same songs over and over.
It's a rotation that goes round and round and round. So if you change any of that, you're kind of like messing with the production of the station.
But are they selected because they're good songs that are supposed to be there?
Basically,
or some artists, have kind of like, I'm just asking. I don't know.
In Indian, I don't know about the other stations, but in Indian stations, our music comes from Bollywood.
Oh.
Like it comes from India. And like different various like dialects of Indian dialects, like Marathi, different things. So with our station, there was never any like local bias, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was always international songs because the East FM was Kenya's premier Asian mix, like a Bollywood station.
True.
So it was circled mostly around like Bollywood music. So there was never any room for like, just like sliding
a song there.
Although I did used to do a Sunday show where I had like full liberty to change songs. So I would like put my favorite songs and just jam the whole Sunday.
I would put my songs. Listen.
I actually didn't have any recorded at the time.
Hey, have you recorded now?
Personally, yes. Professionally, no.
Come on, Eesha. Come on.
No.
Okay, but what do you think is stopping you from doing that? Because I'm just trying to think about it. It's something you talked about.
Yeah.
And you still love it. You still kind of have the passion for it because it's something that's still part of you.
Yeah,
Even in like our side conversations, you would still mention music. But why do you think you haven't like just done?
So after I was actually in a really long relationship at a certain point in time, and we broke up, and that like really affected my growth, I would say, because now I had invested so much of my emotional energy into somebody, and then suddenly it meant nothing. You know what I mean? Like suddenly it was like,
You know exactly what you mean, yeah.
So like I had to like re-navigate a lot, and it took me a while to like get there and to basically figure out where exactly I want to go in life. Not only professionally, but emotionally as well.
Yeah.
I was doing a lot of like personal reflection. And I realized how much energy I put into that relationship and how much of it I didn't put into myself.
Imagine if you put that into music.
And that's exactly where I'm getting to now.
Yeah.
So my breakup was about 2021, around there. Yeah. Beginning of the year. So it's been 2 years? 2 years.
Yeah.
Two and a half years since we broke up. And I think it took me about 1 year to just figure out my emotions.
What?
It took me long because I'm a very emotionally inclined person. Like I'm very in touch with my emotions. So I feel things on like 1,000 times deeper. So when I was going through all of these emotions, I found myself in situations where I was like, what am I doing? Where am I going? I was like anxious all the time. I've panicked, like even meeting new people was a problem for me because I was so scared that I would get hurt again.
Yeah.
That I just refused to talk to people. I refused to meet people. I was in my little bubble. And this not only stopped me socially, but professionally, it also really confined me.
Yeah.
And that's when I got into radio. After that 3/4 of the year, I got into radio. And once I got into radio, I was a different person.
It changed everything.
It changed me. I became like a hustler. I met all these people who are doing so much. And I was like, I want to be this person. I want to be myself.
Yeah.
And I put in so much effort into like just being my own, like being independent. I didn't realize when I crossed the line and became hyper independent.
Yeah.
And now it's not, now I meet people, but it's hard for me to accept them because I'm like, I don't need to talk to you and I don't need you to talk to me.
Yeah, like you have like a few selected people, if they come into your space, you make sure it's purposeful kind of.
Yeah, and like there's always going to be people, like over the past 2 years, I've met a lot of people who have become like really close to me. And then not only that, but like they've been close and then they've not been close, like all of a sudden they're not in my life anymore. And I feel like meeting these people and then having them drop out of my life just selectively, it kind of like made me realize what my purpose was in life. And that's where I'm heading right now. Music wise as well, I think over the past few months, I've kind of figured out my forte and what I want to get into, what message I want to send out there with my music. I don't just want to make music for the sake of making music.
Heartbreak music is kind of like the best. Anyone who does like heartbreak music.
I don't want to be Taylor Swift.
Oh no, listen. Are you seeing how she's selling out arenas?
I know, but like my point
Summer Walker. Anyone with a heartbreak and they go to the studio.
Oh my God.
You don't like Summer Walker?
I love her. What do you mean I don't like? I love her.
Why?
Because she puts her feelings into the music.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of artists, I think that's where people tap in and like actually form connection with their audience.
I mean, I've thought about it.
Because of something they go through.
Yeah.
You can just try, just record
on your own. I've thought about it, but like in I wouldn't say Kenya, but in my community or like in the brown Asian community, there's so much taboo on sharing emotion.
What?
It becomes
That's a lie.
I'm not kidding you. Let me tell you why. I'll before you rebuttal me, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
When I post like sad quotes on my story, that's my way of like just kind of venting my emotion to a certain extent, When I post that, the amount of Indian people who respond to me like, are you okay? You seem depressed. And I'm like, the fact that you think this is depression is beyond my understanding because this is the complete opposite. It's me being vulnerable with my emotions, me being comfortable enough with my emotions to share it with the world or like with my followers.
You're just sharing.
I'm just sharing my emotions. So for some people, they like misinterpret that and they're like, oh, she's probably sad. Yeah. She's probably depressed. Why is she posting? She's going through something. Yeah. She's acting all weird. So like that's how it is in the Asian community. Not a lot of people accept emotional vulnerability as what it is. They accept it as now like, oh, there's something
Can
wrong
I
with
counter
them.
that now?
Yeah, sure.
Like, even from childhood, the only thing I think stands out in any Indian music videos, it's love.
Yeah, but that's love.
Don't wait. Even like heartbreaks, you'd see like, the girl running, crying, the guy is chasing her and then trying to convince her, like just win her back and everything. That's the only, in fact, if you ask me about like that before, we started seeing like now, like even Asians doing like the trap music, kind of like, more American influenced music.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I think I could relate to. Like when I hear like an Indian song, I would hear it. I don't know what exactly it says in the song, But I can tell you if like there's someone who's trying to win a girl's heart back
Yes.
after like, kind of,
The breakup.
yeah.
But I get it. I understand that whole thing. But that's because it's on a larger scale. You get like that's entertainment.
Yeah,
As much as it's...
So try entertain people with love.
But now when you have... honestly, this is a me thing.
Yeah.
This is me not being able to like break through that like people are watching me kind of thing. You know, like I have so much that I would want to say. Like even on this, like us talking, I have so much I will say. Not that I want to say and I'm not going to say, but I
Please
will
feel
say.
free. Hey.
But there's always that thought in the back of your head like, oh, my neighbor's auntie's uncle's nephew is gonna watch this, and then there's gonna be like a whole thing, just taking things out of context. Some people are not able to like really narrow in on the context. So I think that's one problem that I've faced in life, is people taking me out of context. So that's something I'm also trying to curate into my music. And because I have the band with me, like being in a band is so wholesome because you have people around you who share the same vision and goal as you. So having those people around you is so refreshing that like you explore a whole different side of you and a whole new set of emotions as well. So yeah, I'm in that space when it comes to career.
And I think I saw, because we're still speaking of career, I think I saw you like doing something on TV.
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah, I was. So
Is that like an official thing, or you're just doing like... what was that about?
It was officially unofficial. Like,
explain.
See, there's a very thin line in the middle. Anyways, let me just explain to you that journey. So when I left radio, I wanted to really do something in the media space without necessarily giving too much of my time.
Yeah.
Because I was still going back to uni after my gap year. I was not able to commit as much time. So I got sent a message by one of my friends that KTN is having auditions for an entertainment show called E-Curve. So E-Curve was basically about entertainment in Kenya, events, etc., things like that.
Yeah.
So my friend sent me the message. First, I thought it was fake. Because you know how you get those messages, meet me at this location, and we're doing an interview. First of all, I live in Westlands. So for me to think that I'm going to spend a whole day to go to Standard Group sides, not even Standard Group, it was at Next Gen Mall, is where, the Belvedere Lounge.
Yeah.
So that's where the audition was. I show up and there's like two or three other ladies, and our job was basically to like now shoot an episode with the main host, who is Laura Mbatha.
Yeah.
So I think what ended up happening is, because I spoke to Laura before the interview happened and we were just chatting, I didn't know she was the main host.
Yeah.
We ended up creating like a relationship, almost like a mini relationship.
Yeah.
And that chemistry, you could see it.
It was much easier for the two of you to just...
It was so good. And then I ended up getting selected as the co-host for E-Curve. And then started out with one Thursday night. Then it carried on to the next Thursday night. Then I think I did it for like 2.5 months. And it eventually got to a point where it was just so exhausting, traveling from like Westlands, expressway cost, and then going there.
Yeah.
And even like... I'm not gonna say anything, but like budgets are low for.
You don't need to explain,
Budgets are low for people like me, us freelancers, and like having people like come in.
It's not prioritized, definitely.
It's
but
not.
That's with a lot of, I think, media houses right now, and it's because of you see what the digital platform has done, like to most media houses. Wait, is Radio Africa still on?
Radio Africa is still on, yes.
Which one closed, though?
Radio Africa...
There's something that closed.
No, nothing closed, but there were people who were like... who left.
Let go.
I don't know if they were let go or they left.
It was the TV part, or I think of... Radio.
Of Radio Africa. Must be Kiss TV, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about that whole
I'm not
situation.
sure as well, so don't misquote me, please. We're just having a discussion here. We're just trying to figure out, like... But I think, like, the digital platforms and...
So, I think they were like... I know one guy who left, apparently. His name is Pete Sinclair. When I joined Radio Africa, he was one of the people who actually gave me a lot of guidance in radio, how to speak on radio, how to be more effective, how to be clear in your message, just training me. And when I left a few months down, just 1 month ago, I think, I saw Nairobi Gossip Club posted that like him and like some other people had left Radio Africa, and there was like speculation that they didn't leave, but they were laid off. But I don't think that's true.
I mean, I'll forward to you a video. There's somebody I saw yesterday.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, for me, I didn't understand why it got to that extreme. But for sure he was on like the, I think, Kiss TV part.
Okay.
And he was actually homeless. Like somebody was going out,
Really?
they helped him out with food and stuff. He had dreads and stuff. They were washing his hair, but he had just like,
Was he a tall guy?
tall and dreads.
And fair, light skin?
Not so much.
Oh, okay.
Not so much.
'Cause now I'm worried.
Oh,
I'm
no.
like-
I
I'm
think I
thinking
have
about
that video
someone I
somewhere.
know.
I'll show you the
Yeah.
video. But he's like homeless and stuff. He's just saying he hasn't been able to come back on his feet
Yeah, I mean,
after he left. But it's not just that. I think across just media stations,
Yeah.
a lot of people have been affected since COVID, because also advertisers have shifted their budgets to
yes.
either, even if it's individual or small scale
Digital
guys in
especially.
digital
So
platforms. Yeah.
Radio Africa, one thing I know that they like really up their game in is digital marketing, especially during COVID. I
Yeah.
think and now their platforms are being used as digital outlets.
Yeah.
So I do know that the sales teams do advise clients, instead of putting radio ads out, they put out like digital ads,
Try digital.
Try
yeah.
digital. It's their way of moving forward, I guess, which is great. It's good to see.
That's where the industry is heading
And that's
to
one
anyway.
thing I ventured out into as well, like digital marketing. I think 2 years ago,
Yeah.
one of my friends just reached out to me and he was like, hey, so there's some guy who's looking for a social media manager, and I know you've done this for your dad's rental company.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I did it like informally, but I've never like taken it seriously.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, well, he's looking to, really like employ somebody full time.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, I need a job.
Yeah.
Because I was seeing all these people hustling around me, I'm like, what's wrong with
Challenging yourself and
challenging
actually-
myself? So I did it, and it's an events company, and I think I learned so much. Like I was like learning how to use Canva, learning how to use like graphic design websites, AI generated, tools. I learned so much in the process that now I can like say I'm like a fully fledged social media manager.
You see, and at
And
times it's just you taking that chance.
Yeah, and if I hadn't taken that chance, I wouldn't be where I am right now. And that's one thing I think Kenyan culture is so amazing, because like you're able to push yourself into different areas without necessarily having the credentials.
Yeah.
Because it's solely based on like your relationship with the people. So yeah, I'm grateful for that.
And I think even at this point, it gets to a point where companies want people who can just deliver.
Yeah.
Because
They
at
don't
times
care.
you can get like someone, of course, who's graduated, but if they don't have any experience in exactly what you're trying to
Yeah.
achieve, because for you, that's the reason why they call you. Like, I know you were doing this.
Yeah.
And
they
this.
were impressed. They were like, we want TikTok, we want Instagram, we want now X.
I mean, do campuses or unis now teach like even how TikTok is
I don't
work
think
and stuff?
Kenyan campuses, but there are digital marketing like seminars around
Yeah.
Kenya, and that's something I also want to get into. Is because I dabbled in like events a
Yeah.
bit here and there
Yeah.
through my digital marketing, like the place I was doing marketing for, because they did events in Kenya. So
What kind of events?
Indian events. So they're called Desi Boys. And for a whole year, every other month, they were bringing in some sort of Indian DJ from India. And it was like amazing.
Crazy.
Yeah, like crazy experiences. And I think what this did is expose me to the benefits of events itself, And I got so involved in it that now I want to be like, I want to make my own events as well.
Yeah.
Like I'm so entrepreneurial by thought. I'm like, I want to do it myself. I want to do it myself.
Why wouldn't I try this
Exactly.
on my own
and
platform?
you'll never
just see?
know unless you try it.
You have to.
Yeah.
I think just taking chances now.
In this economy, you have to take chances.
Yeah, because
You can't
everybody's
be
complaining
left
about
behind.
jobs are not enough and stuff. But the only one thing that you can do is look around you. What am I good at?
Yeah.
And you have to take that chance.
Honestly, looking at what you're good at and really like focusing in on that has been a challenge for me. Like I've thought about it a lot. I've always been that kid who's like jack of all trades.
Yeah.
But then I have a master. My master is like now understanding people. I think that's something I'm like master of one. So now I've used that understanding of people and I've incorporated in my career. So I am studying psychology.
Yeah, that's
And
what I wanted to say.
Yeah, because I am studying psychology, it helps me in marketing because I know what people want to see.
Yeah.
I know what color evokes which emotion. So when I'm making a poster, I know how attractive I want to make it.
Yeah.
And not only that, even on TikTok, I know that what audiences are going to like respond to which kind of content. So it's really helped me a lot in my career. And I think that's one of my accomplishments in the past few years where I've actually feel like I've achieved. Yeah.
What's your favorite social media platform to post on?
TikTok.
Yeah, I think TikTok has
TikTok
the
is
best
amazing.
algorithm.
Amazing.
Right?
I love it because there's no limits to like what you can achieve. And I feel
and who
like
you can reach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like constantly, whenever I post on TikTok, I'm like, okay, this got a few thousand views.
Yeah.
That's good enough to show a company and be like, hey, like, your TikTok is doing well. 7,000 views is not bad.
Because on Instagram, you clock 7,000 views.
Oh my God.
You know,
Instagram is so hard.
you need to be certified, just get an award or something.
Well, these days you can buy the certification.
Well, yeah, actually that doesn't mean anything. True, but I'm just saying organic reach before you get like 7,000 on Instagram. Just understand people are there just
people are
something.
working hard. I think people on Instagram work twice as hard than people on TikTok because
for sure.
Instagram has so many like prerequisites. The quality has to be a certain, whatever. The captions have to be a certain way. You can't have the watermark of TikTok on your Instagram. It's so complicated. And I'm like, I'm okay. I just don't offer the Reels portion in my...
Because I think the last time we talked, I don't think we were doing TikTok.
No, there was no TikTok.
Yeah.
It was Musical.ly at that time.
Yes.
It was that app where weird people were just like...
Yes. And then once now I think COVID hit, now people started tapping into TikTok slowly.
Quarantine era is when TikTok really became something.
Yeah.
Because we were constantly like... we needed something to do. And people found TikTok and it became like an overnight sensation. I remember waking up one morning and I'm like, oh wait, I have TikTok.
I have not used it, but I have it.
I have it. And because I had it for so long, I had Musical.ly, which turned into TikTok.
Yeah.
I was like, why am I not using it? And then I started exploring. I got COVID like 2-3 times. When I was in quarantine, I was like sitting in my room making TikTok.
How did you get COVID 3 times? Okay, don't... Okay. That's enough said. It's
I had a... So... Now, I feel like I'm just telling you what I do in life. I started a business before COVID happened, a business for cupping therapy. So I did like a certification for cupping therapy.
What's that?
It's like I don't know how to explain it. It's like these glass cups and you use fire as a vacuum to create a vacuum in the cup and you place it on the area that's injured. So I did...
Oh, okay,
have you seen it in Karate Kid?
Yeah.
So basically...
Wait, that's an actual thing. I'm sorry, I'm just asking.
It is an actual thing.
No, that you can do in Kenya and actually just
I learned it from an online academy.
Okay.
Which is, I couldn't travel because it was during COVID.
Yeah, of course.
So I learned it online and I got my certification. Like I did the exams and everything. And I got my certification and I just said, I'm going to open this business. I know we're in the middle of a pandemic, but I have to do something with my time. And because I was doing such a close contact job, all these people I'm meeting, I'm like, I hear one sniffle and I'm like, shit, I have COVID. Like, I got COVID 3 or 4 times. I'm not even kidding you.
I'm sorry.
And because of that, I actually stopped. I closed the business and I'm like, I'll just wait until I'm done with uni.
Yeah, you're like, this is not sustainable during COVID.
Not at all. But it was. I'm not going to lie to you. It made me some good money. I was paying rent. At least I was paying rent.
Well, COVID can take you out as much as it's bringing you money. You know that, right?
It was intense.
Yeah.
And my health took a toll as well. Like, I fully... My immune system is still, to this day, just so weak. I'll get like, even if a baby has a flu, I can catch that.
That's
flu.
it, yeah. And
that's all it takes for me to get sick.
Yeah.
And that's also like something I've just been like working on, my immunity, probiotics and all of that, supplements.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, no, we'll get to that. Because that sounds like, like a whole different like topic if I start getting into it. So let's say career-wise, where do you see yourself heading to? Because, we've mentioned about all these social media things.
Yeah.
Jumping onto radio, TV. Like, where do you see yourself, like, probably heading, let's say, in the next 3-4 years? Because I'm guessing then, because you were still, like, just finishing school or trying to figure it out and stuff. Also, like, your parents kind of can give you, like, room to like explore with different things.
Yeah, for sure.
But it will get to a certain point that like, you can't just be experimenting, like,
You can't.
You can't just be
There's
keep
an
experimenting
age you have
with
to stop,
exactly.
I think in the next 3-4 years, I probably see myself with a fully established digital marketing agency. Because right now all I'm doing is creating contact, networking, like, finding people who need the services. And I know that because I'll create my credibility to such an extent, they won't have a problem shifting their attention from where they are to where I am.
Of course.
And so in the next 3 to 4 years, definitely my own digital marketing agency. I hope to open my cupping therapy business again because I do have the qualification, I have the experience, I have the knowledge, so might as well. And I also see myself in the band, like, I see the band like flourishing a lot more. Because in this past year I've been with the band, I have never performed for these many people in my life. Like, I've had the opportunity to perform at weddings. I've performed at, like, mostly just weddings. Because people like live entertainment nowadays. There's a big gap in the market for Indian live music. So, yeah, definitely with the band. But I also see myself having my own solo career as a musician apart from the band. Like, when it comes to, like, I want to go into, like, Gondwana type music.
Oh, yeah, that would be
I
nice.
feel like that's kind of my vibe.
Oh, that would be nice.
And I want my voice to be like.
What's stopping you?
No,
What's stopping you?
Nothing
Come
is
on.
stopping me, but I promise you in the next few months you'll see something from me.
I think you need to do something because as much as, at times we feel like, am I good enough for this? Should I drop now? Should I record now?
Yeah.
I think you just have to
just
do it.
Pushing and being just irritating to people is what makes.
Trust me, at some point
to irritate people.
you'll be more grateful that you actually started it
Yeah.
a while back. So
Yeah,
I
true.
mean, and you still have time.
Yeah, so that's where I see myself. By the time I'm 25, I would say that's where I want to see myself.
That's good. And also, what did I want to ask? Oh, no, why is it running away from like my thoughts? Before I forget, like still talking about like career.
Yeah.
Oh, there's something you've mentioned and I've just forgotten. Oh, why?
Why would you?
Why is this happening to me?
Let's brainstorm. Well,
No,
what was I
no,
talking
no.
about?
No, just career-wise, right?
Yeah.
Like we've said, like, but is there something that in particular, maybe, let's say, your parents, like, let's say, as you're growing up, they really wanted you to be, and then there's just something that, they wanted you to just choose your own path. Because, there's some households where it's like,
There's
doctor,
a bit of restriction, yeah.
doctor, lawyer, and, once you start venturing in arts, it's a whole different conversation. So
I'll
parents
tell you,
have to be really...
This conversation was not that hard for me. My dad used to be in a band when he was younger. And he had to let go of his dream because he had to put food on the table for his family. Like, him and my mom married young. They ran away and got married. So for him...
They did what?
They ran away and got married. Like, they eloped.
Okay.
So for me, I think I have it a bit easier than other Indian kids.
Yeah.
Or other...
So they come from an understanding background.
They come from a very
like
understanding background. My mom, oh my God, God bless her soul. She's so supportive of anything I've ever done. I think a bit too supportive to the extent where she'll embrace my dreams as her own. And I'm so grateful for that. My dad, he understands the whole arts thing.
Yeah.
But then obviously they do have that like kind of mentality of like, I'm still a girl. They have that more like they shelter me a bit more than my brothers. But I mean, I don't blame them. They're just a victim of their circumstances within the era that they grew up in. There's certain things that just biologically they can't let go of.
And you have to understand, at times, I think people misunderstand parents because you do realize you're the kid and they just want the best for you.
Yeah, they want the best for you.
Yeah,
so I'll never fault them for like telling me something.
Yeah.
I know they're not going to wish ill on me.
Of course.
So I'll always just be like, yeah, I mean, I'll be pissed off for a bit, but then I'll get over it eventually and I'll go and apologize myself.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing I've done in life that they've not supported me through.
No.
So yeah, this has never been a tough conversation for me. Even for my brothers. One of my brothers is a DJ. My other brother, he dabbles in like producing, but he's also a real estate agent in Australia.
So they have to deal with kind of already. I think by now
us as kids, we were in a band when we were younger. My parents put us through music classes, and then eventually we drifted away from the theory of music, and we moved into like practical band music. And our band teacher, she became like our band leader.
Yeah.
So we would go to like Galileo and perform with her, and like they saw that happening. So they never stopped us. So I appreciate that, and yeah, that's.
What's kind of like? Oh wait, can you play any instruments?
I mean, I can't say that I can
in a
confidently play,
band,
but I
come
can
on.
play the piano, and
can?
I can like somewhat catch rhythm on the drum.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I can sing. I play I started piano. I never started with singing. So I did the prep test for piano, and I like.
You can read the notes?
I can read the notes. I did theory for music until O levels.
Oh, that's good.
So I
That's
know
dope.
how to play the piano. I played the recorder growing up.
No, that's still a plus.
Yeah, it is. I
It
mean,
is.
you still understand music.
Yeah.
And then also like just any percussion instrument, I feel you can learn how to play.
Kinda.
If you have rhythm within you'll find a way to like play any percussion instrument.
For sure.
So,
Now,
yeah.
there's just one thing that I had forgotten. Now I've just remembered exactly.
Oh God, I'm scared.
No, it's not crazy. Nothing crazy.
Okay.
Because when we talked about like digital marketing agency, that's something that you'd want
Yeah.
to have
Yeah.
in the next few years or in future. Are there any influences, like let's say you've seen currently, like in the country that have set like a good footprint that you can kind of say like you look up to these guys because they really do push the envelope when it comes to
Yeah.
marketing?
I mean, I have worked with digital marketing companies in the past. And
Feel free to drop names if you know. Look at you like, okay, you don't have to. You don't
no,
have to.
I will.
You don't have to, but if you want, you know,
I do
you can.
want to. I see where you're nudging me towards the edge of the
Yeah,
cliff.
yeah.
But like, okay, I worked with Breathe Media. It's a small business as of now. Very well structured company. However, my consultancy agreement came to an end with them. I was
Okay.
doing consulting for them for TikTok and like just basically managing all their pages, TikTok accounts.
Yeah.
And I think one thing I didn't like so much about working was the margin of payment. Like, it's not that I hated working there. It's an amazing
Yeah.
company to work with.
Yeah.
But I felt like I'm one of those people who really pushes and pours all of my
A
efforts
lot, yeah.
into what I do. And if I was working part-time, so that kind of like made me get paid less, you know?
What's
So-
going on? That's
What?
outside. Okay, but we're good. You know, I almost thought that's coming from our headphones.
Yeah, I was
I'm-
like,
are you hearing what
Yeah, I
I'm
can
hearing?
hear it.
So no, yeah. So
I mean, it's not a bad place to work. I think it gave me some great experience.
I have a very good follow-up question.
I'm following up with my
Look at
follow.
you, look at you. I have a very good follow-up question. Should I ask it or let you
Let me finish this
Yeah,
one part
finish,
and then I'll
finish.
tell you. So that if
write it
there's
down so that I don't forget? I don't want to forget anything.
I
Yeah.
really enjoyed working there. It gave me a lot of like order in what I was doing. Like they taught me how to organize my thoughts into like reports, and because I didn't know how to do reports. Until that point, I was just doing my own work and people just kind of trusted my abilities. But then when I got into a company, I had somebody to answer to, like I had to report to somebody.
Yeah.
So it kind of taught me organization in my skills and everything. And then there's another digital marketing company called Behind the Scenes Marketing. They have a very good structure in place by way of like execution.
Yeah.
And I know the owner like personally, and she's learned a lot of, she's very open to like learning techniques. And I think that's become her strong suit in like the market in Kenya.
Yeah.
Her ability to network, amazing. Like she's somebody I look up to. It's called Behind the Scenes Marketing. Yeah. I think I
Proper.
plan on like making my way to that kind of point.
So
soon.
you've said Breathe Media and Behind the Scenes Marketing.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure. I think the only the agency that probably think I know the owners kind of it's Yellow Moon Marketing.
Yeah.
And they also do like a great job as well.
Yeah.
So anyway, like a follow-up question to that, because you've mentioned this. There's something that doesn't give you peace in kind of like a lot of places where you've gone to work
Yeah.
and stuff. What do you think would be an ideal salary right now? No. Listen.
Future employer.
And listen. Just take your time. Just think about that number. Because I always like to include numbers nowadays when I'm talking
Yeah.
to people. Because I also want to know, like, I would know I know what would make me happy if I'm sitting in someone's office.
Yeah.
But I'm just interested in knowing, like, at this particular, like, age and place where you're in, what do you think would make sense to you and just make you comfortable right now?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be in future, because remember, this number can change next year.
Yeah, the economy is obviously
of course,
changing.
if you have, like, settling down, like, let's say starting a family, that number needs to change and stuff. But, like, right now, how old are you right now?
I'm 22.
Okay. You're age mates with my assistant, by
Really?
the way. Yeah. So what kind of salary do you think would make you, like, happy right now?
Right now...
and before you say it, understand, your future employer could be watching this.
It's fine. I'm going to put a very hectic price on my worth. I know my worth. I think the thing is, right now in life, I firmly believe in consultancy agreements. I don't believe in full-time or part-time employment agreements, mainly because I don't feel like that gives you freedom to be yourself and to exercise your timings. I've never responded well to people like giving me orders, which is why I push so much on consultancy agreements or like just hiring by the hour. So for me...
Oh, they're doing it upstairs today. Okay.
All these. I believe a lot in...
how we'll combat it, but we're good.
So I believe in consultancy. So for me, as of now, I'm charging 5,000 shillings an hour. For depending on what service
per hour.
5,000 shillings an hour, and then there's a preferred client rate of 4,000 shillings an hour. That's what I've been working with, because I'm very transparent with like whoever I work with, that I don't have the time allowance because I'm still a student, and I'm also part of a band. I need to prioritize my education and my career apart from my other career,
because you're still doing like kind of juggling like a lot of, and I think that's decent considering how much when we're talking about an hourly rate, that's probably twice as much as other jobs.
More than twice.
Do like in the States and stuff, right?
Yeah, the reason why I charge this much is because I can provide like a lot of work within an hour. So there's a lot of worth I put to like the quality of work that I'm providing. I can shoot at least 8 TikToks within an hour. And that TikToks that will do good, perform well. So that's why it's 5,000 an hour. And then if you want to do shoots, then it's an extra added for my videographer and photographer.
Like the production and everything.
There's obviously like, this is just like and then if you want to do like a long term, then there's like a retainer fee. Then you added the hours on top. So
Wow, very expensive.
Yeah, I mean, you have to add worth and then add tax. Don't forget the tax.
Actually true. You have to understand like such things as well.
Yeah, right now things are like really intense, and as a young individual, like first of all, we were never taught how to file taxes. Like our country does not
filing taxes. No?
Till I was 19, I was filing, like from 18 to 19.
You were filing?
I was filing nil returns at 18, 19. And
but
then when
you were filing?
Yeah. But I had to figure it, like I had to be taught.
So how did you learn?
I had to go out of my parents taught me how to like file returns. But the thing is like, not a lot of people know how to file their taxes. And even to this day,
you're not lying.
Even to this day, I still take like advice from the accountants that I know, who know how to do this, who have studied it. But even they don't know like the full process of it.
And things keep changing. Like you see, like every time, like, our tax man just keeps changing a lot of things.
Like this
so
tax
trying to
on
keep up with everything.
Products, oh my God.
Yes.
Like as it is, we were paying like, at Linton's, if you buy a foundation, it's like 5K. Okay. Now, if you add the tax, it's probably going to be like 6K, 7K. Like it's not even, it's unreal.
And you have to understand just by how even the dollar rate is going. Like by December, everything is going to be crazy.
All these products of Fenty and whatnot, they're all coming from America.
Yes.
They're not made and manufactured in Kenya. Unless I'm buying like, I don't even know what brand is. Suzy Beauty. Unless I'm buying Suzy Beauty, then I'm not going to be paying a good price for beauty products.
Prices might still keep changing towards like December and everything. But, just something that we have to deal with.
Yeah, that's why I charge that much.
No, but it makes sense. It makes sense. It just, with it comes also with your background experience.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not just about you waking up and saying like, this is how much I want to be paid.
Yeah.
No, like you're showing a catalog of the things that you've actually do.
Yeah.
Of course, like we've said, first of all, 5-year retaining title of
Yeah,
Miss India.
exactly.
Like this, it comes with like you representing like even the brand outside the office or affiliation. There's so many things tied to that, and
Yeah.
I think it's a good way of just packaging
And also,
yourself.
I feel like I bring a lot to the table as far as network is concerned. Like, I'm I'd say I'm young in the industry still.
are. You
So for me, I believe that I have kind of like honed in on networking from a very young age. From the age of like, I'd say 15, 14, I've been like performing at random shows here and there, talent shows in Kenya, so like I feel like I've put myself out there. And when I come to your company and I say, hey, look, I can do digital marketing for you, but I can also give you 2 influencers who fit your brand exactly.
And I know them in person. I'll just be the middle person of actually
Exactly.
making this work.
Exactly. And not only will it benefit you, but it'll benefit them and me. So it's like a symbiotic relationship you create with people. And I feel like I bring that to the table. So why not add worth to it?
For sure.
Yeah.
And just speaking even to piggyback on that, like what do you think about like just influencer marketing in general, like right now, how it is in the country? Because
I don't even know
what does that even mean? Hold on. I have the perfect sound effect for that. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. What do you think about it? Because that's like a major thing right now. And I think a lot of companies, brands, or just like businesses, like also like prioritize on like working with influencers.
Yeah.
So what's just like your thoughts
I think,
on the current climate?
I'd
should
say climate of like influencer marketing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of influencers are not being paid for the amount of work that they're doing. And a lot of people take advantage of the fact that they are small businesses.
Yeah.
I understand that if you're a small business, you're not able to like pay as much as a big brand would for influencer marketing. But it doesn't mean that you don't pay them at least somewhat of their worth.
Yeah.
Alternatively, I do feel influencers need to understand the economic culture of our country and just think that, okay, if a company is willing to spend that much money on a billboard, they should be willing to spend equally the amount of money on you. But those are big companies.
Yeah.
Those companies have the budget to pay for 3-4 influencers 100,000 per campaign.
Yeah.
But a company like a small restaurant, if they want an influencer, obviously they're going to be like, I can only pay you this much, give you a free meal.
Let's talk about numbers. Don't just say this much. You're the expert in this, and
Okay.
why? Because somebody who has like a small business would hear and like, okay, maybe I can actually just accommodate this much money, put it on the side, and reach out to someone with this because it might make a difference.
So
And
a lot of influencers charge by reel or by post, by story. Stories are like value adds or whatever. But it's like,
how much are we talking
I
about?
think
Because
most
like
influencers-
I don't know, but that's why I'm saying like even just by your experience. Now we're talking about like someone who's looking to start like their own digital marketing agency at the current climate, and like how much would make sense, like for
I think
whatever.
paying an influencer at least 3,000 shillings for a reel, depending, you see, it also depends on their statistics.
Yeah.
If I have 5,000 followers and out of 5,000, 4,000 are interacting with me, I'm reaching 4,000 people.
Yeah.
And for each person that I reach, or at least for my percentage, that's like about 80 to 90%, right? You're reaching 80 to 90% of your audience, your target audience. If a company comes to me and says, hey, I want one reel, I want you to post a reel for me.
Sorry.
I want you to post a reel for me. I would say that person should be paid at least 5,000 shillings for a reel.
For real.
At least.
At
if
least,
you're a
no,
small
at least because
business.
now it depends on, like, of course, your following, your interactions,
and
all those
how
things.
they edited, the time they spent to
Yes.
film, the shoot. So like not only the 5,000 shillings, but like let's say it's a restaurant.
Yeah.
You pay them 5,000, give them the free meal,
Yeah.
and then on top of that, you cater for their transportation.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't just expect them to like show up and
Yeah.
within that 5,000, let's say if I'm in Parklands and Mountain View, there's a restaurant that they want me to go.
Yeah.
That Uber will cost me like 600, 700
Or you're going to Siokimau.
Yeah, exactly. It will cost me at least, let's say minimum 500 shillings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've already spent 1,000 shillings of my payment on transport. Okay. Then I have 4,000 shillings left. From that 4,000, I have to pay influencer tax of 15%. Now, that's also another thing.
People are paying influencer tax.
Influencers pay 15% tax now.
Hey, this is an official thing.
This is an official thing.
What?
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it, but like influencers pay tax as well. And I think it's, not 15%, 5%. Sorry,
Okay.
5%, my mistake.
Okay.
They pay 5%
Because I don't know
tax.
about those numbers.
Yeah,
anyway,
so I had to actually figure this out because a lot of influencers that I was linking with people
Yeah.
were telling me, hey, listen, by the way, my prices have gone up a bit because there's tax now. So obviously the 5% tax now gets added to that. So out of that, let's say they're left with 3,800, 900 shillings like that, right?
Yeah.
And then out of that, they'd probably save about 2,000 shillings and then spend like 1,900.
Yeah.
So like you're for doing all of that and then you edit.
Yeah.
Not only are you editing, but you're using your devices, your camera, whatever, to do all of that work. So at least 5,000, then you add value adds like food, transport.
Because that's like even, you have to remember you're also using like your image and likeness as
you
well.
are.
Just to
You are
represent.
representing a brand. You're representing I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I recently did my hair at a salon and I wasn't really happy with the services and I was influencing for them, right?
Oh.
They dyed my hair, they bleached my hair. And I'm not going to name names because that's not my thing. I'm not planning on like ruining someone's business. But I did communicate with them and I told them, my hair's going through a lot of damage. And like, I hate to say I told you so because I did tell them so.
Yeah.
But I can't influence this, I can't like sugarcoat my influencing for this. If somebody asks me what my experience was like, I will be honest, but in a very sincere way because I understand it's a small business.
Yeah. You don't
want to ruin small businesses.
Because maybe it was just a bad day. It's not like a regular thing.
It might not be a regular thing, but
Yeah.
I'll give my personal experience and my honest opinion. Where you wanted me to post a reel, I posted a reel, you paid me for it. Simple. Done. Apart from that, I got a free hair treatment. Fair enough. But like at the same time, I'm not...
Maybe that's why it was for free.
I'm not interested in like trying to ruin people's small businesses.
Yeah, because we're still having this conversation and, you can feel free to have this conversation or not. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Because you've talked about like your personal approach on how like, if you're part of, let's say you're an influence strategist or whatever we can call it in this like conversation. How do you think about like, so people who like, maybe go to extremes, like, if they're not satisfied, like, with their business and something and they've been posting about them, they would just pull up with their phone like this and and ask you like,
I feel like I know what you're talking about.
Your business, but because it's not just once, we see it like occasionally
a lot,
with people who go on stories and rant, but there are people who prefer to take a more personal approach,
I think the
in-person
personal approach
and okay, so yeah, what do you think about your business? And it's like...
I think the personal approach is always the most professional approach. And I learned this lesson very young. I visited my community temple, the Sikh temple in Makindu, a few years back. And instead of approaching the issue privately and personally, I hopped onto like the petition bandwagon. And so basically this was the situation.
Yeah.
They didn't allow my driver to sleep in the vicinity. Okay. At that time, the management was not doing a good job.
Yeah.
They didn't allow our driver to have a room over there, even though the rooms are free. We were just there for a night and we were leaving.
Yeah.
They didn't allow our driver. And I got really aggravated. And I was like, but you're giving my grandma and I a room, but you're not giving him a room.
Yeah.
I mean, he can even like stay in the room with us, but like you're not like giving us a bed or anything.
Was this a person who's supposed to drive you,
Yeah,
he needs to get
he needs
some
sleep.
rest, right?
She was like, he can find another place to stay. And instead of like finding out who the management is, talking to them, me being young and impulsive, I went straight to Instagram and I like, it's not right, it's racial profiling, blah, 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 which was fair. I mean, I did kind of the right thing. It got the attention of the management and eventually they did sort out the issue. But I felt like I was wrong in doing that because that was my community.
Because you acted with your emotions at the time.
I acted with my emotions, yeah. But it's also not something that I was invalid for acting the way I did. It was a very valid reaction to what was happening.
Yeah.
Alternatively, there's people who like will just go out there and like invalidly just like make accusations and like I'm just gonna have some water.
No, I'm just saying because it's a thing as well, and we also can't just not talk about it if it's something that let's say you can only imagine like if it's someone like a relative's business and they have to now come out and actually now try and protect their business and everything because
which they shouldn't have to do.
Yeah,
I mean, it's all part of like reputation management and whatever, but like I feel like influencers take for granted the power that they have.
Yeah.
And I'm not lying to you, influencers are very powerful in Kenya because we are a country based on word of mouth, based on experience. We're such a tight-knit community that if one person says something and another person repeats it, we're going to believe it.
Yeah.
So we have to be like very conscious of our decisions. You can't just like waltz in up to a place and just like, guns blazing. You have to have some sort of like, just that camaraderie, like respect.
Yeah.
As an influencer, I'm a hustler.
Yeah.
As a small business owner, you're a hustler.
Hustler as well.
We can hustle together or we can hustle separately, but I'm not going to mess up your hustle for you and you don't mess up mine.
Yeah.
And also like the businesses themselves, they shouldn't take the influencers for granted.
Yeah.
I feel like businesses are always like, I don't have this much money to pay you.
Yeah.
But like you should.
You
want the service. Today, if you go for a haircut and you have 200 shillings in your pocket and your barber gives you a haircut and says, okay, it costs 1,000. Are you going to tell him, sorry, I only have 200 shillings? So you're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Pay your people what they're worth.
Yeah, it
I
just
will
makes
always
sense.
vouch for this.
And people appreciate. And that experience, even if they go now, like we've said, with the word of mouth, you just don't know what the next person will be hearing about their experience.
Exactly.
So I know, influencers, please, you just do your thing, but also just be mindful at times because you just...
it's very human to make mistakes as well, We all make mistakes in life, but how you show your remorse for those situations also matters. Like, yes, you are an influencer or yes, you are a small business owner, but how you deal with the situation afterwards is what matters a lot.
And also you don't want other companies or people think that you're just a ticking time bomb because they're like, yo.
You feel like you're walking on eggshells with
this person is coming here, just say we're closing, we're shutting down, we've gone for lunch, yo. Because I think it's going to cost us more by just letting them in. So, we don't want that as well.
Yeah.
And also just don't make it bad for other people who are trying to do kind of the same thing that you're doing, right?
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of businesses will now like steer away from using influencers as a form of marketing because they feel like I'm leaving my company's vision in the hands of someone external, someone who's not bound by contract to me, although there are instances where there will be a contract, but like those are larger scale influencers, but like someone who's not bound to me by contract, just by our transaction. Is that enough to hold somebody accountable for what they've said or done to you about your business? If
something goes wrong, like you start wishing like, that money would have just bought shoes, gone on vacation.
I would have bought a ticket to Mombasa or something.
Like, why did I even get myself into this?
True.
So,
you'd rather just... And because Kenya is a word-of-mouth nation, they're like, I can easily just do this myself.
No,
and then that devalues the importance of an influencer.
That's fact.
So eventually it's going to like render the whole influencer game obsolete.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
So now another question, because, I can still see we still have time, There's a bit more time we can still buy. Let's talk about, you mentioned the health aspect of it of the conversation.
Yeah.
somewhere in the conversation.
Yeah.
And I just want to know what exactly you meant by that and how you're approaching it. Because that's something that sounded serious when you started talking
Yeah,
about it.
I mean, I was pretty serious about that.
Yeah.
I think growing up in a country where women's issues aren't so, you're not really educated on them,
Yeah.
it makes it hard to survive with certain things.
Mm.
So I actually, when I was around 16 or 17, I was diagnosed with PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. And
I don't even know what
so
that is.
a lot of people don't. Like, don't worry. A lot of people don't know what PCOS is. It's basically your ovaries, and then around your ovaries, there's like little cysts that sit on them, right? And this alters your body's ability to produce certain hormones, which now control your insulin, control your mental health, because these are all chemicals within your body, right?
Yeah.
So these are a lot of things that people are not aware about, and I personally wasn't aware of it. I went to a doctor, and the doctor just prescribed me birth control to treat PCOS at the age of 16. And that left me with so many other side effects, like, you know, I gained so much weight because of the birth control. I was experiencing like mood swings, like even like episodes of depression. And I was like, I don't want to have this medicine.
And that's because of the medication.
Yeah, and that wasn't even because of what I had. It was because of the medication. And then I started reading about PCOS. I ignored it for a bit. I'm not going to lie. I was like, didn't want to accept that I have something, that I have a problem.
Yeah.
And then I started reading about it because other people were talking more about it. I would see it on social media. I would see it. I'm like, okay, so people are comfortable talking about PCOS. Why shouldn't I be? So I did a lot of research. I found supplements.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I was going to do it anyways. I found supplements that would like aid the PCOS in like calming down a bit. And obviously because of...
Sorry, it's just because I don't want it to hide your face, kind of.
That's
But
all right.
go on, sorry.
So I didn't want it to like affect my life, and I
Yeah.
wanted to take control of it. And the more I started doing that, the more I felt better about myself as well. And my fitness goals changed as well. Like when I was young, it was constantly just like, oh, you know, you've put on weight, you should lose weight, you know, thin. That's all I heard growing up.
Yeah.
And then when I reached a certain age, I'm like, hang on, being healthy is more important to me than being thin,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And growing up in an Asian community, there's always going to be that one auntie who's going to like criticize everything
Always,
about you.
all
There's
the time.
always that one auntie. And if you are that auntie, stop. Like, just stop. Nobody
Yeah,
asked
just
for your
chill out,
opinion.
chill out, yeah.
Like, just chill. So, yeah, I mean, I took matters into my own hands. My mom also was really supportive. She didn't know much about it either. So we kind of learned together, and it kind of bonded us in a way as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of side effects of PCOS. One of them is extreme fatigue, your brain fog, like you can't think straight sometimes. A side effect of PCOS is ADHD. A side effect of PCOS is anxiety disorders. So PCOS comes with a lot of baggage, and learning how to deal with that baggage has been a great health journey for me, because I've been able to navigate what works for me and what works for my body. Like, a lot of people will ask me, like, you know, you go to the gym all the time. I like going to the gym because it keeps my mind happy and healthy. But a lot of people be like, oh, you go to the gym all the time, how come you're not changing? And I'm like, what? The change you can see is not the change I feel.
Yeah.
The change is more internal. Like, my body has become much stronger, healthier. I have less anxiety, like, because of my ability to work out and to like just channel my energy into something physical.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like people misinterpret the whole health journey.
Yeah.
Not
that's
everything
true.
is external.
No, that's true. Yeah.
So yeah, that's just a little bit of
A
PCOS,
bit, yeah.
just like 1% of PCOS. And of late, I've been like trying to, you know, push myself into being more vocal about it. I
I think
post
that's
about
a
it on
good
my
thing,
story.
because there are people who need to hear that. Somebody
Yeah.
else could be like
Imagine-
16, 15 going
Yes.
through that, and they feel ashamed, or they don't even know
They don't
how
even
they're
know how
supposed
to deal with it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I had a really tough time accepting it. I was so scared, you know, I never even knew what it was. When somebody told me I have cysts on my ovaries, I was like, is it cancer? Because, you know, that's the first thing that pops into your mind.
because you don't know what it
They-
means.
the
like,
doctor basically explained it to me and said, there's little tumors on your ovaries. And I'm like, when you say tumor to a 16-year-old,
Yeah, that's
the
just
first thing I clocked was cancer. And then they had to check, is it benign? Is it an active cyst? They do all these like ultrasounds and scans and blood tests. And then this in turn makes you even more anxious.
yeah,
more
especially
scared.
at that age. Come
Yeah,
on.
it was a really tough process to go through. And I'm actually glad I had the resources I did. Like, I was surrounded by women who also had it,
Yeah.
but they were also unaware of what was going on. My mom's sisters, my cousin sisters. So we created like a small community for ourselves where we just communicate on like certain things that are happening with us that maybe are common trends in PCOS.
Yeah.
Then I started learning more about it. I read about it. I educated myself on a problem that I had. And it kind of took me to a place where I appreciated my mind as well. The fact that I was able to educate myself and learn from the mistakes I had made in the past. First of all, one thing I tell every single little girl out there who feels they may have PCOS is, yes, go get diagnosed by a doctor, but treat yourself. Do not take treatment from a doctor who will just put you on birth control, because that's something that messed
That's
me up.
wild, though.
Can you imagine? What is the purpose of birth control?
It's
a
I think that
contraception.
that's the one job it's supposed to do. It's
It's
contraception.
birth control.
Yeah.
It's not PCOS control. If you have medication for something else, do not use it to treat something else. Because if you open that, I promise you.
And we can't call out this doctor, right?
No, I can't. Because a lot of
No,
doctors
no.
in Kenya do that. It's
Yeah.
not just one doctor. It's a very normal practice all over the world.
Just
That
give
if
someone
a-
just
if a
birth
girl-
control.
Yeah, if a girl has PCOS, the first thing you immediately direct them to is Yasmin or Diane or whatever the
That's
hell
wild.
it is. Like, if you open that little pamphlet inside the birth control box, it's about this big.
Yeah.
And those are just the list of side effects. So that's the health journey I've been on, understanding what my body needs, what it wants. And when you treat internally, externally, you'll also slowly.
For
It's
sure.
a very slow process, and slowly it will become better as well. And yeah, as I was saying, like there's a lot of people who'll misunderstand it, who'll be like, oh, but you do this, you do that, but yet you're not becoming thin. But people need to understand the goals that people have.
Yeah.
Not everyone goes to the gym to become thin.
Yeah.
Some people go to the gym to help their inner health. Some people go because they just have body dysmorphia. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people who go to the gym have body dysmorphia.
What's that?
It's like when you perceive your body in a way that it's not, you'll constantly be looking for faults in your body. One
okay,
day you'll
makes
be
sense,
like
yeah.
completely happy. One day you'll be like, damn, I look good. I look really, really good. The next moment, like even in a span of 15 minutes, you could leave the house in one outfit. 15 minutes later, you look in the mirror and you're like, shit. Like
I don't like.
I'm not feeling comfortable. I want to go home. It messes up your entire event, your entire mood. And like you just change so much. So body dysmorphia is also something really serious and severe. These things are just not spoken about a lot. And a lot of boys that I know will not know what PCOS is.
They won't.
Like
Yeah.
when I've had this question asked to me, that question of like you go to the gym but blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I've had that question asked to me by a boy, and I said, well, I have PCOS, and the first response I got was, what's that? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't feel, I'm not offended that they don't know,
Yeah.
but I feel bad that they don't know. That like in the event you have a girlfriend she'll look fine when you meet her. She's young, she's extremely happy, but PCOS also causes infertility. You meet this girl, you fall deeply in love with her, 10 years down the line, you're having kids,
Yeah.
you can't have kids, this affects your relationship with her, and you're not even giving her like the benefit of doubt that like
to
it's not your
understand
fault.
exactly what's
It's
going on.
not your fault.
Yeah.
Exactly. So these are the things that like I feel bad about, that women get so misunderstood because of these small things that people are just so uneducated on.
Which is good.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, at least you're using your platform to just educate
Yeah,
people.
I'm
on
trying my best.
such-
I want to create more content based on PCOS.
You
A lot of
should.
people don't know about it, especially in Kenya. And a lot of girls give up on their PCOS journey because of the doctors giving them birth control.
But that's
Yeah.
wild. That's
It is
wild.
crazy. I'm not
'Cause
gonna lie,
just trying
it
to
is
imagine
crazy.
if I have like a small sister, somebody's already giving them birth
Imagine,
control,
and
contraceptives, and they're not
girls
even.
can get PCOS from as young as 13.
Yeah. So I think you can just even create like more awareness in that, and like even just with like your platforms and stuff.
Yeah.
Like you could be a good advocate for such things.
Personally, that is one of my goals this year. is to be more vocal on like these problems that affect women. Not just women, men as well. Like I want to do my research. I want to talk to men who are going through health issues, hormonal issues, because it's not only women who go through
That's
health
true.
issues.
That's
And
true.
a lot of men are misunderstood as well, you know. So
As for men, we just don't take time about until it's like, until
Until
like
you're on the deathbed.
someone is passed out. That's when like, okay, now I need to go
that's
check
also
up.
another thing
That's wild.
that needs to change, you
Yeah.
know. Like men need to look after their health as well.
No, that's true. But nowadays, like I go for constant checkups. Like make sure I pay for my medical cover. There's some things I
Yeah.
used to ignore.
Yeah.
But now I'm just like, I can't take any chances.
I think
'cause
slowly but surely we'll get there.
baby
And
steps.
like not just physical health, but
Yeah,
mental health as
mental
well.
health.
Because of my degree, like me pursuing psychology,
Yeah.
I really want to like do something with that in Kenya. I don't want to leave. I'm really patriotic, by the way. I don't know. If
I can see. I can see.
I'm extremely Kenyan. I'm like
Yeah.
the most Kenyan Indian girl you'll ever meet in your life.
Yeah.
I want to provide to my country and I want to make a difference in my country. I don't want to be one of those kids who like leaves the country, goes to study abroad, stays abroad, never comes back.
That's it. Yeah.
You use your resources while you're here because it's cheaper education than it is abroad when it's like primary years and high school. And then you leave the country and it's like that never meant anything to you.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people lack that patriotism towards their country. So yeah, and that's also other things that I want to speak. I want to speak
That's
about a
true.
lot, but like
Give
obviously,
me a visa. Approve my visa. And
I'm out of here. The moment
go on. But no, I wouldn't do that as well because like I think I'll just miss out on so many different
Yeah.
things that we appreciate in Kenya. First of all, I can't deal with winter anyway. So
Oh my God.
Yeah,
It's
I
been
can't.
like 17 degrees and I'm like in my room, like
Yeah.
bundled up in jackets.
so
and
imagine at minus 5 degrees.
I can't.
I'm not doing that.
I'm not made for that kind
I
of.
love Kenya.
I love
First of
Kenya
all,
and the fact
that's
that
for
we
sure.
can go to a beach with a
Yes.
train, like just hop in a train, go to
Yeah.
the beach for 750 shillings.
Yes.
I can
Yes.
go to the beach
Yeah.
and then come back the next day. Like where else in the world?
People save for years to come and visit Kenya.
Yeah.
I think that's why at times like we kind of like underappreciate what we have in the country.
Yeah, for sure.
People save for years to come and experience what we have.
People do
every single-
destination weddings in Diani from the UK.
Imagine.
Like, bro, that
Yeah.
should tell you enough about our
what
country.
planning has to be done for that to be executed in
Yeah.
years of planning. But that's just something we have to deal with anyway. But now I know we are almost coming to an end of the podcast.
Yeah.
But I still have to touch on just something small. Because I remember, like, when we were chatting, like, trying to plan this and everything, you mentioned, like, going through, like, a couple of things.
Yeah.
And, you still kind of trying to
Navigate
through and get in a nice space.
Yeah.
Is there something specific that you can
Yeah, I
talk
mean,
about or
Yeah,
no?
I can. Like, I'm very open about my emotions, and that's something I really appreciate about myself.
I wish you could put it in music.
One day.
One
Okay.
day, maybe in future.
Yeah, for sure. I experience anxiety. I have high functioning anxiety, so I panic really easily. I'm a very social person. Like, I'm not socially anxious. I get in my head about a lot of things, and I get triggered by a lot of things. And
Like
that,
what?
like, in my past when I was younger, I never really got along with a lot of people. When you're young, you're awkward, you're weird. Like, you just never. I had friends, but I never had the friends that I like started off with.
Yeah.
I would always like the friendships ended, and then I would like end up in a group that was like just chilled people,
Yeah.
which I'm very grateful for. But it created like a sense of trauma within me that whenever I would now make new friends, I would always be so scared that like I hope this friend doesn't do this to me, So I get really anxious.
I've gone through it so much.
Yeah,
So-
believe me, in this
Yeah.
year alone, people who I thought would be at my wedding, like my best, I had a lot of like friends who were like I thought would be in my life forever, and this year I lost a lot of them. Like we stopped talking, we fell out, So I experienced a lot of loss this year, and I think that triggered a lot of anxiety within me, and it kind of made me think more about my life. And when I think like it's like a machine.
Yeah.
It goes at like 10,000 times, So I kind of get so overwhelmed by that anxiety that it puts me, I start detaching, like I start moving away from reality. I sit in my room. I don't like coming out. I miss meals and I don't even realize,
Yeah.
you know. So that's something that I was going through this year. This year I've been through a lot of that. My best friends, you know. So when you lose people who are so close to you for reasons that are not valid.
Yeah, you're like, just
You know, like,
how is this even possible?
It
How is
can't
this
be
a
possible.
thing?
Yeah. So for me, a lot of acceptance, a lot of loss, a lot of thinking and healing, and just trying to find out who I am as a person as well, what I want to put out there, like what
Yeah.
is my purpose on this earth. I think I've become really philosophical this year, and I think rightfully so, because at a certain age you do come to a realization where you're like, there's a bigger picture than just what I've been doing my whole life. There's a bigger bubble. Like this is my small bubble, and this is me with my friends here and there.
There's so much more
But
to
there's
live
so
for.
much
Yeah.
more to live for. If you burst that bubble, you're in another bubble, and if you
Yeah.
burst that one, you're in a bigger one. So there's constantly so much more to live for. There's so many people you'll encounter in your life, and I think losing a lot of people in your life makes you really value your energy as a person, because you think that you gave these people so much of your energy, so much love, so much care, and eventually it's equated to nothing. You know, it equated to basically the friendship not being there anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of realization this year.
Happens a lot, but I can only imagine, you're talking about friends, love
Yeah.
as well, all those things bubbled up like in one.
Yeah.
That's a lot, but I think that's also just something we have to realize. It's just
Yeah.
part of life,
It
because
is.
you just never know. There's some people like 2-3 years ago, like I said, even like probably in the podcast, some can't even stand me right now. They just see my face and like, switch that podcast off.
Yeah.
But then we were close, but also you have to understand that's just going to be life though.
That's something that I just can't process. How can you go from being buddy with someone, and then it takes you a span of like a day, not even a minute,
it
for you
happens.
to turn on that same person and to not be there for them the same way? That's something I find so hard to like understand. It's beyond my thinking capacity.
Don't worry. You'll kind of.
I'm telling you, this character development is strong.
You kind of, at times, like even for me, when you mention it, I'm just like, it's happened so many times. So nowadays, I'm always like, you know what? As long as I'm here with this person right now, I'll
Yeah.
appreciate, respect them, and enjoy this moment. So if they ever like flip into like a whole different character, I'm just like, at least we
I
had
saw
some
it
good times.
coming.
Yeah, I saw it coming, but at least then we had like good times. So,
Yeah.
but I think it's just, sometimes life is just unpredictable. You just never, the same way you can see like bitter divorces, you have to
Yeah.
realize these are people who actually loved each other.
Yeah.
They have kids together, but yet they're here in court like just trashing each other like they're super enemies. So just try
Sign
and
a prenup.
yeah, just try and imagine that, people who go through that and they still have to wake up the next day and actually battle life like nothing happened.
Yeah, and battling life like nothing happened is my toxic trait. Because it took me a while to accept that I even had issues to begin with. Like, I had so many issues I needed to address. And I was like, I need to address them. I need to talk to somebody, seek help, go for therapy.
Oh, you've talked about, do you want to talk about therapy?
Yeah, like 100%.
Okay, so how does that like just, now that you've mentioned it, hey, listen, I'm not the one who brought it up. Eh? Now that you've mentioned it, like how does therapy just like even help you just navigate because at 22, I didn't need any therapy. I just needed to have a good time. That's me.
Yeah,
But that's
but you
just
see
me.
now generations have changed as such that even a 16-year-old needs therapy.
Sure.
Even children, that's why child psychologists exist. Therapy is not just about discussing bad things that happen in life. Therapy,
I thought it was just about scamming people money.
that's my career. Stop it.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But not anymore. Now I
Yeah.
understand it in a different way. I thought
So
that,
for me,
but now I
therapy-
understand.
For me, therapy is more so about having somebody there who knows nothing about your life. You basically, it's like your human diary. You start from scratch. This person doesn't know you. They don't have any attachment to you outside of that 1 hour. Okay? They are giving you 1 hour of their time, 1 hour of their energy. Yeah, you've paid them for it, but it's credible. It's a credible source of guidance, you
Yeah.
know? These are people who have spent years studying human behavior, studying people who have disorders like you, studying everything about the mind.
Yeah.
If not ask them about what to do with your problems, who do you ask? Because parents, at the end of the day, yes, they are parents, but they're being parents for the first time with their children.
Yeah.
They've never done it before.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, like you're going through what exactly?
Yeah, and someone from my mom and dad's generation would not know how to deal with a child who has PCOS, ADHD.
True.
Okay, I've not been diagnosed with ADHD, but I know parents from my parents' generation who have kids who have mental health disorders,
Yeah.
but they're not addressed because they don't know how to address it, not because they don't care.
They just
But
don't
they
know.
just don't know how.
During their time, this was
Yeah.
not something that was being discussed or even brought up.
Exactly, and that's why mental health professional exists.
Okay.
Because you need somebody to validate those emotions for you. Because if you self-diagnose, that is the worst thing you could ever do. It's like going on Google. You have a flu, and then you Google your
Google is the
symptoms,
worst.
and then Google tells you that you have like cancer, and you're
It'll
like,
tell
oh
you you're
shit,
dying. You're dying.
Yeah,
You
Google
have
will be
4
like
months to
side
live.
effects, death.
Yeah.
Like no thanks, I'm
That's
alright.
true. I think a professional person would just be in a better position to
Yeah.
help you navigate and make you understand it's not just you. There's some other people with similar problems who've been going through this, and it's okay to go through this
Yeah.
as you figure
I'll give you
yourself
a
out.
really good example of that. When you have a flu, it's
Yeah.
very easy to treat a flu at home with home remedies, right? But there's some people who, if you have a flu, you go to a doctor,
Yeah.
right? The same way is if you have anxiety, you can treat the anxiety at home,
Yeah.
but you go to a doctor to give you the right treatment. Treatment that will help you faster, treatment that will... It's the same scenario. If you're going to a doctor for your physical health, go to a doctor for your mental health. And that's something I'll stand by for the rest of my life.
I respect that. And, as much as, people never want to have these discussions, we also have to understand that, like you said, generations change.
Yeah, times are changing.
We also have to understand we have so much pushed, like just... Our parents didn't have like this whole social media thing,
Yeah.
interacting with over 100 people in
Yeah,
a day.
it's true.
So for us,
Like
it's
my
different.
parents-
Our traffic is...
My parents, when I tell them, like, I got like 50K views on my TikTok, and they're like, 50,000 people?
50,000.
And for some people, that's
Yeah.
nothing. Like people who are in the digital space, that's nothing.
Yeah,
But if
true.
you tell your parents, I got like, I hit 7,700
That's
followers.
crazy.
And they're like, 7,000 people know you
Yeah.
or follow you and
Yeah.
have like reached out to you. And I'm like, yeah, like that's how life is now. And having all those external factors, there's so many more factors that are affecting kids of this day
Yeah.
and age.
Yeah.
You need extra resources.
For them, they didn't have that. It was much...
Yeah.
I think the one thing I envy about them, they didn't have to deal with all this.
Nothing. They didn't have any of it.
Yeah, so it was much easier. Now things are complicated, and I think that's why, like the same way you've said, they wouldn't know the
Yeah.
answer or how to help you as much as they are your parents.
Yeah,
Like, yo,
true.
I'm like, yo, somebody's just bullying me on like social media. They'll be like, what? Then
How
de-
they
then
didn't deal with it in their
Why
time.
don't you delete it?
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, I can't just delete a whole page. This is still
Exactly.
part of me branding myself, just a recreational kind of like source as well.
Yeah.
So I can't just delete it. This is this is
Yeah.
just how we live now.
Some things I always remember is like when your dad or mom asks you how to use Facebook or how to use Instagram,
Yeah.
always remember that they taught you how to use a spoon.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's something that it always like rings in the back of my mind is when my parents ask me so many questions about how to do this and how to do that, I'll just take a deep breath in and be like, you know what, Eesha, they taught you how to use a spoon.
And remember the patience they had when
Exactly.
teaching you all these things. They were
Exactly.
like, you're just messing up all the time. And they're like, no, it's all
It's
good.
okay, let her
just,
have her
just
time.
try again.
Exactly.
Try again.
So yeah, I think if you have parents, if
Yeah.
you have the privilege of having your parents near you,
Yeah.
always cherish it. Like I will
You hear
always
that?
cherish that.
You heard that? Cherish your parents. You better.
Sometimes it's hard though, because parents can be
Yeah.
they haven't done it before, so they make mistakes as well, and that affects your personality as well.
Yeah.
But I think
Understand this is their first run
Yeah.
doing this.
And it's
Yeah.
you have to also remember that there's another thing I always say is that do you just think about it that your mother is also just a woman?
Yeah.
Like your father is also just a guy Like
Yeah.
they're just people.
Yeah.
They're not parents. Their
Yeah.
identity is not as a parent. Their identity is individual.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my little
One,
tips
one,
on parents.
one more thing, just before we end it up. I know I keep saying that, but let me just push it a bit. Tattoos.
Yeah.
Last time I asked you about like this one,
Yeah.
and have you gotten more since then?
Well, you know the answer to that. I have like so many tattoos.
I've noticed. So, of course, I have to ask about like the tattoos as well. Just, is it something that you wake up and just decide, you know what?
Honestly, I'm
Today
addicted.
Really?
I'm addicted to getting tattoos. The moment I get my salary or the moment I get any payment of any type, I'm like,
Fast.
it goes into the tattoo saving deposit. Like it goes. I have a savings box at home
Yeah.
just for tattoos. Like it's just a little tin
Really?
that every time I get some money, I put like some money into that tin.
But, okay, at least for the visible ones.
Yeah.
Can you just take us through
Yeah.
like, what
So
does this mean?
this is a rose, and it basically symbolizes. As you can see, it's like a continuous rose. It's like one of those where you don't lift the pen. You get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it shows continuity and beauty. That beauty is beyond just like beauty has no breaks. You'll always be beautiful no matter what. It's just how you draw your image is what makes the entire image beautiful. And then One Heart, One Love. It's a lyric of a Bob Marley song.
What? Wait, Bob Marley?
Yeah.
Wait.
Not like that.
Wait. Did someone say... Did you say Bob Marley? Oh, no. Of course not. I'm just,
No, so this is One Heart, One Love. And
Yeah.
basically what that means to me is because I've grown up in such a cosmopolitan like area when it comes to like different cultures, different races around me. We've never had like intense racism as such
Yeah.
when I was growing up, right?
Yeah.
It shows that everyone has the same kind of heart and everyone shares the same kind of love. And that kind of love and heart knows no color or culture.
That's special.
So yeah, that means a lot to me.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like the people I have in my life, my friends. I don't look at people for what they are on the external side of it.
And that's a good thing. I think that I realized even from the first episode. And I
Yeah.
was just like, okay, this is
Yeah.
good.
And then I have this one. It's a bowling ball with pins.
Mm-hmm.
This is an interesting story actually. It's a matching tattoo I got with that ex-best friend.
Ex-best friend.
Remember I was telling you I've lost friends this year?
You two got matching tattoos.
So we were three of us. I'm still friends with one of them.
Yeah, but the three of
But
you...
the three of us have this tattoo together. And we were dropping the friend that I'm still friends with, we dropped him to the airport on that day and we're like, hey, why don't we just go and get tattoos? So we're like, okay, fine. I mean, we're going to be in each other's lives
Just
forever.
like that.
Yeah, we just went and got tattoos. and then, although it still means a lot to me,
Yeah.
it symbolizes a memory. It symbolizes the good parts of our friendship. Every time I look at this, I think about that friendship, and it hurts me to a certain extent, but I've kind of accepted it for what it is.
You have to.
You
have to.
It's a tattoo.
You have to. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, when you're eating, that friendship is there. You're just eating
like
and the friendship
anything.
is like, yo.
But to be honest, even when people ask me like, oh, you have a bowling ball on your hand?
Yeah.
And it's just basically we would go for bowling all the time in the summer.
Ah.
So we're like, what is one thing we've done together this entire summer? And they were like, bowling.
That's still special. Even if
So
the friendship is not
it still
there,
means
come
a
on,
lot to
still,
me
yeah.
because those experiences were so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
We had so much fun. Yeah, so that's this tattoo. Then I have one here, which is like I'm very into like me being a Scorpio. So the M over here is the symbol for being a Scorpio. And then my birth date, 11/11, because I was born on the 11th of November. So this is just basically like to do with my vibe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and
Nice.
then I have one more, which is like a lady with flowers coming out of her body. It
Okay.
basically symbolizes femininity and how being a lady, as much as it is being an individual, you still symbolize kind of a sense of softness and, elegance and grace. So yeah, that's what that tattoo means to me.
I respect that.
Thank you.
No, I've never actually been courageous enough to get a tattoo.
You should.
Because
Once you get one, you're going to get like
That's
50.
the problem.
Yeah.
I think I might get carried away if
Yeah.
I get one.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you know what? Let's just do this
Do
sleeve.
the whole sleeve.
Let's just do the whole sleeve. That's the kind of person I am. So I'd just rather think carefully before I get into that.
Yeah.
And, you just never know what the future holds. But anyway, I can confidently say, like, now, whatever else we've left, we can always just pick it up from there, right?
100%.
We can always, if you want to do another one, like after 2 months or maybe
100%.
close to December, we can do another one,
Yeah,
right?
we should.
For the holidays.
Yeah, Christmas special.
So anyway, tell people what you have going on. You can plug your social media platforms, before we wrap it up. But thank you so much for coming to the platform.
Thank you for having me. I was just going to say that. Thank you for having me. It's always fun being on this podcast, honestly. I always look forward to this. When I see your content on TikTok, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I was there.
Thank you.
I was there when it was an art cafe.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So it means a lot to me that you've also like grown so much as an individual. I'm really happy for you. You can find my social. So my name is Eesha Jobanputra, EESHA. On Instagram, it's Eesha_Jobanputra. If that's too hard for you to spell, you go to TikTok and you find me at What's Your Issue, which is, that's my TikTok username. And then you can find my Instagram from there as well as my Twitter. So yeah, that's me.
Anything else you want to plug? A business thing that you have going on?
I mean, if
feel free.
you ever want any band to ever come and perform at your wedding, hit us up. Little Bit Hutke. That's our band.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, one more thing. I've just noticed there. What's the name of this bracelet?
It's not real.
It's not
It's Cartier, but it's like it's not made by Cartier. It's made by a jeweler.
Okay. If it's not Cartier, we don't need to talk about it.
We don't have to talk about it.
But we can still pick up that conversation on the next,
we can. To be honest,
next podcast, right?
My favorite part about Kenya is the fact that you can find anything you want on low budget.
That's true. That's why, because I was like, wait, hold up. No. But they still look really nice.
Yeah.
Really super swaggy and everything. So let's just save the next conversation for the next podcast.
Yes, 100%.
All right. The Kisscapades podcast is your gateway to holistic growth and personal transformation. Together we'll unlock the secrets to living a life of health, wealth, love, and happiness. So make sure to tune in every week and join us as we explore the essence of what it means to truly thrive. And lastly, show us some love and support in our social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, basically all the social media platforms that support podcasting will definitely be there. Even with the short clips and reels, you can find us there. And lastly, don't be shy with feedback, suggestions, or any questions that you might have in regards to the episodes or our podcast. It's the Kisscapades podcast. Goodbye.